Welcome to Sakshi TV special immigration talk show with attorney Mr. Parvathaneni. Please note that Sakshi TV now has 4 shows every week. On Tuesdays with lawyer Srinivas Kabeti, on Wednesdays with Prashanti Reddy in English, on Thursdays with Parvathaneni, and on Fridays with Banu and Indra. Please tune in to ask your questions. If you are an immigration attorney and would like to join our special shows, please email us at yoursayitssakshi.com or call us at 866-725-7441. Before we begin the show, please note that the information provided on this show is not a legal advice and for general informational purposes only. Sakshi TV or its agents will not be responsible for the use of information. If you need any specific legal advice, you can contact the attorney directly. Mr. Chan needs no introduction, but if you need consultation, don't forget to log on to their law firm site, which is spblawfirm.com site. It provides information regarding US immigration laws and updates, which you do not have to be a lawyer to understand. So without any further delay, let's welcome Mr. Parvathaneni on our show. Welcome back, Mr. Parvathaneni Garu. I hope you're doing well.
Hello, Shivani. Thank you for the show, and thank you all Sakshi TV viewers for watching the show today. Hope everybody is having a good day or a good evening wherever you are.
Thank you so much, Parvathaneni Garu. I hope you're doing well too. But before we get on to today's topic, are there any latest immigration updates that we have to know?
So in the last month or so, I would say probably the last 3 weeks or so, there is a lot of concern, a lot of rumors going on, a lot of issues happening. And this is regarding the multiple registrations issue. So USCIS came out with this announcement about multiple registrations and how they felt a lot of companies probably made some fraudulent registrations. So this is a pretty burning and a hot topic right now in US in the employment-based immigration world. And we will talk more about multiple registrations in today's show and see what is happening. But definitely at this point of time, we have a deadline. June 30th is the deadline to finish all the lottery filings. And with USCIS coming with their data, their statistics about a lot of companies misusing this whole multiple registration issue to register their employees, I think that's a very important topic, and we will talk more about this topic today. And apart from that, the other issue is regarding the green cards. So we did get the visa bulletin for June. It just showed up a few days back. The visa bulletin is not a very attractive visa bulletin. And again, it is not something what people from India who are waiting in the green card queue are expecting. So the EB2 dates are still in 2011. EB3 dates are still in 2012. The dates are not they're not seeing any forward movement. And it doesn't look like at least till October bulletin, we will even see any forward movement. And on top of it, the Department of State, they are probably indicating that we might see a retrogression in EB3. So EB3 is already in 2012. So we're already talking about further retrogression. And that being said, in our law firm this month, the green card approvals that we have seen are from 2012, from May of 2012. So at least some people are still going through getting their green cards, but at least the ones that we are seeing, these are the people with priority dates from 2012. So those are the green cards that at least we have seen in our office this month.
Yes. So let's get on to today's topic. So we did decide that we'll be talking a little bit about the H1B lotteries and multiple registration updates. So, Mr. Parvathaneni, there is a rumor saying that the USCIS is acting against companies who have filed for multiple registration. So can an employer conclude with the other entity to file H1B registration for the same beneficiary? That means that can an employee change for the same advantages under a different entity or something like that?
So I think a lot of the concern nowadays is about collusion. So collusion basically between two different companies or two different entities or between two different parties, where the goal is to increase somebody's chances in the lottery. And it is true that USCIS has been acting against these companies, and they have been doing this since at least last October. So at least last October, November is when we started seeing the first notices. And USCIS was looking at the data from last year's, the 2022 March filings. So they looked at the data, and USCIS has a very, very good electronic system. So they have enormous amount of data. A lot of people don't realize this, and they feel that they can get away with fraud. But USCIS has enormous amount of data on pretty much a lot of things. And what USCIS has been doing since the last 6-7 months is they were looking at the data from last year's filing, last 2023 March, from those filings. They were, wherever they see there is a potential collusion, they have been sending notices to the companies. So if the case has been approved, what they do is they send a notice of intent to revoke that approval. If the case is not approved yet, what they've been doing is they've been sending a notice of intent to deny that case. And this is what USCIS has already started doing, at least since last October, November. And this is more in the news in the last month because of the very wide public announcement that USCIS has made. But again, USCIS did not just wake up now. They have been doing this. They have been sending notices to a lot of companies who they suspect have colluded. If they have data where they feel that some entities have collided or colluded, they have been issuing these notices. And unfortunately, what has happened is people probably did not pay attention, and that misuse of that H1B lottery, it happened on a very, very wide scale, very large scale this March. And that is when USCIS came out last month in April, and they released this data where they said, look, last year there was so much of misuse, this year there is so much of misuse. And what USCIS can do is they can adjudicate the petition. They cannot really criminally prosecute somebody. So what they are saying is, we are going to refer these cases where you suspect collusion to the respective agencies which deal with the criminal prosecutions. So pretty much that is what is happening. And USCIS has been acting against companies by either revoking those cases or denying those cases for the last couple of months. And we do expect that they are going to look at the data that they have. They have very good amount of data. They know the relationships as far as collusion. And we do anticipate that any cases that where they have very, very good data that shows collusion, those cases will be impacted down the line.
Yes. So, Mr. Parvathaneni, what would amount if two companies are having a collusion?
So collusion. So basically, when we talk about collusion, what collusion means is some entities or some companies, they are trying to increase their chances in the lottery. So what they're doing is they're probably talking to some other companies. They're doing something to get an unfair benefit. And what that means is, say they don't have a real job, or say there is only one real job. And what the companies do is they talk to another company and they say, okay, we have an employee, you file, we will file. So in general, what's happening is multiple entities are filing for the same person, and there are no different jobs. There is probably only one job. So for the same job, multiple companies are filing with an understanding that, hey, you file, we will file. But eventually, what we will do is, once somebody's registration is selected in the lottery, only one of us are going to file because there is only one real job, not multiple real jobs. So that is where I think the whole collusion comes into picture, because the companies are not really having an independent job. They are trying to make it sound like they have a real job, and they are filing for the registration, and they have an understanding that in the end they're only going to file one petition. So the whole process that these multiple companies are doing is they are registering because it's only $10. All these companies are registering probably with an understanding that only one of them is going to file the eventual petition. And that is where I think USCIS is seeing a problem, because the real genuine people who did not shop around employers, and employers did not shop around employees, they just had one genuine filing, and those people are unfairly getting targeted. So USCIS is trying to do something about this whole mess. And that is where I think they came out with this public announcement where they're saying, hey, there is collusion. Basically, what does collusion mean? Collusion means multiple companies are working together and there are no real jobs out there. There is no real job, but the companies are colluding because they want their employee to get selected in the lottery, and internally they have an understanding to do the filing, a single filing, probably.
Yes. So, Mr. Parvathaneni, I'm trying to say that the USCIS has determined that there might be collusion between companies, even when they're not related. So, let's say that there are two companies in a similar building or a similar area, but they also have similar law attorneys or people representing them. Even still, are those companies gonna get colluded? And is what is happening? Why do you think USCIS is doing this?
So what USCIS is trying to do is they're trying to figure out which company is colluded. And when we talk about collusion, I think a lot of people, I think at least what I have seen is a lot of people think that if my company and that company are not related through family relationships. For example, I'm an independent person and this other company is an independent person owning that company. Even if they don't, I mean, I think I think a lot of people thought if the companies are not related through family relationships, it's an independent company. They thought that if they discuss amongst themselves and the lottery registration gets filed in both the companies, some people at least thought it is okay. And what USCIS is saying and what the rules always have said is, no, that is not okay. Collusion does not mean that the companies have to be related through a family relationship. Collusion means these two companies are talking to each other. They're talking to each other. They're discussing ways to increase their chances in the lottery. And how does USCIS find out if companies colluded? So, so in general, based on the notices that we have seen, uh, the way USCIS finds out is if they see a lot of commonality. Initially, I think if they see a company A and a company B file the same set of registrations. For example, company A filed about 200 registrations. Company B filed, say, 100 registrations. And out of the 100 registrations, 80, 90 are common between company A and company B. So, so USCIS has this data. They have all the data in their databases. So it is very clear for USCIS to find out based on companies A's data and companies B's data that there is a lot of commonality of registrations. That is the biggest and the first trigger. So the minute they see company A, company B filing the same set of registrations or having a lot of common registrations, that's a big trigger. They will start digging more. Then probably some more things are common. Maybe these companies are related through a business relationship in the past, or maybe the companies have a common registered agent. Maybe the companies or a set of companies have the same law firm, the same attorney. So all these what they show is, look, these companies or probably the companies are in the same city or probably in the same building. So what this shows to USCIS is there is so much of data matching, like the registrations. There are so many common registrations. But if they are in the same city, for example, or they have the same registered agent, same attorneys, same law firms, probably these companies know each other. Probably these two companies probably have some kind of an understanding because there is so much of common data between them. And that is how USCIS will dig more. And once they start digging more and they see all this data, they get suspicious and they will immediately issue a notice. They will say, look, you guys have so many overlapping registrations. You have a common registered agent. And probably this company and this company, probably you have a relationship in the past. Maybe one of your employee in the past is now the owner of this other company. So because USCIS has the data, they have a lot of data. And they're pointing all these facts. You have a common registered agent. You have a common law firm that's filing both the cases. And what it is saying is, so USCIS will say, we think that you companies know each other. We think that you guys worked together to register for these employees. And they will also point out another thing. When the company is registered, the beneficiaries, they have attested under perjury of penalty that they are not working with any other entity. So the companies are actually representing to USCIS that no other company that they know is, I mean, at least they have not colluded with another company that is filing for this beneficiary. They're also attesting that there is a bona fide job opportunity in their company. So now when USCIS shows all this data and USCIS claims that you guys might have colluded with this other company, USCIS is asking for an answer back. And if somebody is not able to answer why there are so many overlapping registrations, why there are so many things in common, which means the companies probably know about each other in the past, they have a problem. And what that means is USCIS more than likely will revoke the H1B. And when USCIS revokes the H1B, there are a lot of other issues. Not only that, USCIS is now stating that they will refer this matter for criminal prosecution. And when criminal prosecution is referred, agencies like ICE will get involved. Department of Justice could get involved. And what that means is now there is a bigger problem in hand for these companies. So, and that's how USCIS has been figuring out if companies have colluded or not colluded with each other.
So, Mr. Parvathaneni, my next question is, what will happen if multiple registrations for the same beneficiaries are selected, and can they file petitions for all the selected H1Bs, or is there any other solutions for that?
So, if an employee has multiple registrations done from different independent companies, it could be legal. So, USCIS is not saying that a beneficiary should not have multiple registrations. An employee, a beneficiary, might have a genuine reason for having multiple registrations. For example, company A, say for example Apple, and say Microsoft, both of them have offered an employee a job. And both of the companies, say Microsoft and Apple, both of them file a registration for the same beneficiary. That is not illegal. So USCIS is not saying if truly independent companies with a truly bona fide requirement for a job file a registration. So in those cases, you probably might have a multiple registration for the employees. However, when there is no bona fide job opportunity, but these companies, they're just filing registrations just to increase the chances in the lottery, that is where they have a problem. So what is happening is there are some cases where we have seen where 10, 15 registrations were done. And the job offers are probably not bona fide because the companies have colluded with an understanding that only one of them is going to file. So there is probably only one job, and these 10, 15 companies for that employee, they filed with an understanding that only one of them is going to file. That is where the problem is. But if some beneficiary truly has multiple companies which are truly independent and there is a truly bona fide job opportunity that is independent in both the companies or multiple companies, those cases will not have any problem. So in those cases, if those multiple companies go ahead and file a H1B case, there will not be an issue. However, if it's not a genuine job, if it is not a bona fide job opportunity, and there is a multiple registration because of this collusion, those are the ones that run into an issue. And those kind of cases should not even proceed any further. And if somebody has already done the registration, because the registration has already happened, USCIS is already looking into that data. But at least going forwards, if somebody knows that some registration is not a legitimate registration and that registration was done in collusion with some other entity, what people have to do is those companies, they should stop their process. They should not file the H1B because we don't want those companies to make further misrepresentations with USCIS. If a mistake has been done, if the registration is a registration that was done in collusion with somebody else to unfairly increase their chances in the lottery, at least the companies, those kind of registrations, they should stop. They should not go ahead with the filings going into the future.
Yes. So is this the same situation with the H1B? So let's say like multiple H1Bs have been selected, for the same beneficiaries. And also, what will happen if he decides to file only one H1B right then?
So again, so for the H1B process, the employee cannot file a H1B. It is the employer that files the H1B. So what that means is the employee is not the one that will have the say on how many number of petitions will be filed, but the employer is the one that should file if there is a bona fide job requirement. So what that means is, if the again, in terms of collusion, we are seeing some cases where the employee also knew about the fraud, The employee is the one that went and worked with multiple employers, knowingly and knowing that these employers are all not legitimate employers, and still worked with various employers to increase their chances in their lottery. So again, if an employer and employee work together, colluded together to increase their chances, and if the employee is also a part of that issue, all those cases should stop. Those cases should not go ahead. However, if the employee has multiple independent job offers and multiple independent, truly bona fide job offers were filed, in those cases, I think ethically, I think the employee should make up his mind and decide where he wants to work, and let the other companies know that he or she has accepted another job offer. Because even though legally the rule is, yes, somebody can accept two job offers with two independent companies for truly bona fide job offers, ethically I think it's a good idea to make up their mind and let the other company know, because an employer is going to spend a lot of money on the H1B filing. And not only that, somebody they, so when somebody files multiple H1s, even so for example, Apple and Microsoft, even if Apple and Microsoft file a H1B for the same employee, because they have two independent bona fide opportunities, in general, what is happening is the employee cannot work at both the locations. So it doesn't make sense. So again, somebody is wasting somebody else's chance. So the employee ethically should inform the companies, look, I have another opportunity. I don't want to take up your opportunity, and at least notify the companies. So what that means is, to summarize, it is not the employee who's filing the H1s. It is the employer that is filing the H1s. And as long as the petition is clean and registration is clean, only then the employer should proceed. And if the employee also has been a part of any kind of a collusion, they should let the employer know, because that registration should stop. That registration should not. Go into a H1B filing, because USCIS is going to find out in the future, because they have so much of data. In case of any collusion, they will find out in the future. So rather than waste all your money, the company wasting all the money and time and effort, it is good that the process stops right now, before any further damage is done to the employee or to the employer.
Yes. So let's talk about the NOIDs or the NOIRs. So what exactly are those, Mr. Parvathaneni? And also, have you seen an increase in these?
We have been seeing these for the last 5-6 months, because USCIS does have data from last year. So last year's filing, wherever they suspected collusion or multiple registration fraud, they did start issuing these notices. We have not really seen any increase all of a sudden in the last 1 month or so, but that is probably because USCIS, ever since I think USCIS issued that public announcement in April, which was a very good thing, because at least a lot of people where this is really an issue, they are actually taking a step back, which is good, because at least we don't want people who have done multiple registrations through collusion. We don't want them to file the H1s, because they're wasting other chances. And not only that, they're jeopardizing the integrity of the H1B program, and that is going to impact people in the long run. Because even if somebody gets a H1B in a short term, if USCIS questions that particular H1B in the future, and if that base petition gets revoked, it is going to impact that employee's future. It is going to be a red mark on the employer. So as a whole, it is going to impact everybody in the future. So we have not really seen an uptick in these notices, because we have been seeing these notices in the last 5-6 months, wherever USCIS suspected an issue in the registrations. So 2023 March data, they probably waited until October, because October is when we really started seeing the first notices. For the 2024 lottery, the 2024 cap, where the lottery registrations happened in March 2023. But those cases I have not seen any notices, any NORs or NOIDs yet. And we did see approvals. We did see a couple of approvals. But again, my guess is people who really have misused the H1B lottery in this March, they probably did not file yet, probably because of the public announcement from USCIS. And I think that announcement from USCIS was a very good thing, because at least it is giving another chance to everybody to take a step back. If some wrong has happened in March, it's a good opportunity for companies and employees to take a step back and make sure there is no further misrepresentation of facts with USCIS.
Yes, great. So Parvathaneni, I think it was that is for it for today's episode. It was lovely as usual to have you on our show. Let's continue this next week too. Thank you again for the viewers for tuning in. You're watching Sakshi TV with me, Shivani Raj.
Thank you.